Honey, all that anger is creating stress lines. So how about your Gunko Alaric teach you a better way to channel all that sexual aggression? So I may or may not have said that to someone before, but it is true. Anger is causing you stress and it is causing you to age faster. But this video is not about the fountain of youth, and instead I got something really special prepared for you today about how anger gives you a false sense of security and power, and in actuality it is keeping the bullshit alive in your life rather than allowing you to turn that into fertilizer and transcend the conflict, the drama, all the stuff you're looking to change. And so stay tuned because I got some juicy stuff prepared for you today on the virtue of gentleness. Welcome back. My name is Alaric Hutchinson, aka the Zen Cowboy, your guide to inner peace. And today we're going to be exploring the virtue of gentleness from my book, Heart of Humanity, and why gentleness is a strength and rewards so much more honey in life than being a Krabby Patty. So stay tuned. Virtue 5, the flower of gentleness, page 105. In the current state of world consciousness, gentleness is often misinterpreted as weakness or passivity. However, it takes great self-awareness and self-control to steady our actions and voice during times of conflict and emotional discord. Isn't this a strength? The true essence that allows us to embody gentleness in all affairs is one of strength and willpower. In order for gentleness to bloom, insecurity of self or judgment of others need not compete for nourishment amidst this flowering virtue. So, a challenge with our species is that we have a tendency to go along with the loudest person in the room. Studies have actually been conducted in this where whoever has given the most vocal platform time to speak on a topic, we tend to agree with them or side with them more than someone who takes a more gentle and quiet approach. So it's almost like we're attracted to confidence. And even if there is anger or drama involved, that's what brings our attention. I mean, think about it for a moment on these reality shows that many of us love, including me. Are we so engulfed by the peaceful person who is zenning out in the corner that's not causing drama? Or are we glued to the screen when it's actually someone that is very emotive and very flamboyant? The challenge is we are more drawn to the shiny objects, even if it harms us in the process. It's like we're moths to the flame. And so there is something to be said about that flamboyancy. There's something to be said about anger and how it gets attention, and how the chaos and all of that stuff that goes with it seems to create power. But it gives the false sense of control and power because what we're creating in that process is not peace. It's not joy. It's not even happiness. It is stress, and that stress floods our body, creating dis-ease that eventually can lead to disease, and it negatively impacts the people around us. So the contrast of gentleness is, yes, it may not be as sparkly, it may not be as exciting, but when we actually take a gentle approach to life, goodness gracious, we're gonna actually enjoy life that much more. And no, it's not a weakness. As I was saying in my book, it actually takes so much self-discipline to contain and self-regulate ourselves when we are dealing with conflict, rather than just blurt out and blow up on the person in front of us anytime they trigger us. So when we're being a reactive character in life, we're literally just repeating our karmic behavior. We're just repeating the harms of the past. But when we're able to self-regulate and take a more gentle approach, that is when we can start to respond differently and plot a different course for our future. So in this next section I'm about to read, I'm going to give you a few examples. Let's take a breath. The virtue of gentleness is the soothing balm for stressful and chaotic energies. A gentle voice, yet firm delivery. An uncomfortably honest communication, yet gentle approach. A day of rigorous work, yet gentle evening of rejuvenation. Teaching a child the lesson of cause and effect regarding a harmful behavior they enacted, yet a gentle display of unconditional love and peaceful presence. Cultivating self-discipline, yet gentle with encouraging inner dialogue. And expressing hurt emotions, yet mindfully gentle to prevent further hurt and harm. I absolutely love those examples. And collectively, gentleness is peace in action. As we can see in the above examples, gentleness has a harmonizing effect when conflict might otherwise prevail. As a neutralizing, soothing virtue, we return to gentleness whenever the winds of chaos blow strongly in our lives. So let's pick apart some of those examples because they are so true. I mean, how often have we gotten ourselves worked up in our frustration, our anger, and our impatience where we completely lose all gentleness and we're trying to express our hurt emotions and we end up causing more harm in the wake of it? If we had self-regulation in our gentle approach, we could very mindfully explain the situation without causing fires in the process. I have known so many well-meaning people throughout my life who are always just worked up in a chaotic state, and it's just everywhere they go, they're trying to help, but they themselves are a tornado, and so they're just creating chaos in the wake. Yeah, they might put out a fire here, but the moment they touch this thing over here, it goes up in flames. And that's what anger does. That's how we've even got to this point in our country with so many passionate people on either side. There's this divisiveness going on, and everyone truly believes that they are doing what is best for humanity, that they are doing best for our country. But in actuality, there's no empathy, or rather, I'm not going to generalize. There's a lack of empathy. There's a lack of active listening. There's a lack of compassion and mutual understanding that's going across these different political lines. When, if we're actually practicing gentleness, we can have those heart-to-heart conversations without the need to demonize, without the need to separate, without the need to judge and criticize. So the virtue of gentleness is really a virtue about bringing back our power and having it right here in our heart space, dropping into the heart, and then communicating. Because when we're coming from a place of anger, that's actually a very lacking place of power because we're so easily manipulated. If we're angry, the thing we're angry at actually has control over us because we're allowing it to impact us emotionally. We're allowing it to fill our body with the stress hormone that causes disease. Isn't that fascinating how the thing we're angry at, it's the thing that is actually in control of us at that time. But when we're coming from a place of gentleness, of grace, of peace, we have our own agency. We're self-agents at that point. And then we can start responding rather than reacting to pave new pathways for us for the life that we want to create. Let's take a deep breath. So just as a reminder, this is going into the teaching of anger that I talk about later in my book. Anger is a false sense of power because it is grasping for power. It is grasping for control. We're angry because we feel powerless in that moment. We may not call it powerlessness, but the reason why we're angry to begin with is because we're looking at or dealing with a situation that is different than what we want it to be. Yes, it might literally be abusive, or it could just be something that is a non-preference. But at the end of the day, in that moment, we're angry because we don't have the power there. And so instead, we use that anger to try and manipulate and change the situation. But like I said, when we're doing it from that vantage point, we are the thing that's already on fire, and then we're touching this other thing, and that goes up in flames at the same time. It does not freaking work. But when we come at things from a gentle approach, it may still not go as planned, but the chances of it working out and developing active listening, developing compassion, mutual understanding are so much higher than if we lose our emotional regulation and we're just this combative, combustive force in the world that is creating more karma, more harm on the planet than if we were self-regulated and responded from a place of peace. Let's take a breath. Let's end with a quote. As soon as you concern yourself with the good and bad of your fellows, you create an opening in your heart for maliciousness to enter. Testing, competing with, and criticizing others weakens and defeats you. This is from The Art of Peace and the founder of Aikido martial art, Morihei Ueshiba. So kind of like what I was talking about in my video last week on judgment, how to not judge yourself and others. Judgment at its root creates anger and division and squashes our gentleness. So when we're able to keep a more open, compassionate, peaceful mind, that allows us to really activate the virtue of gentleness in our life. And I know you're going to say, Alaric, that is so much easier said than done. And you're right. But that's also why I'm here. You know, I have my book, Heart of Humanity, with so many tips and tricks that you can apply to your life, available on Amazon. And also I do work with people one-on-one. And now we have our study group, our Dunisha study group on Facebook, link below. So there's a lot of ways in which you can start to practice on a more regular basis, whether it's through the book, working one-on-one, study group, or even finding your own group or your own community that you can sit, practice meditation, practice mindfulness with. There are so many countless, limitless options out there for many of us, either locally or online. So the question is, what are you doing on a regular basis to cultivate peace, to cultivate gentleness? Or rather, what can you start doing today or tomorrow, rather than continuing to just wait and wait and wait and wait and wait? Because the truth is, it's already here with us in this moment. And so it's up to us to put it into practice or not. Thank you all so much. Mwah.